Hello all. Today I'm going to do a drive from the Slessor Gardens in Dundee city centre at the waterfront, and I'm going to drive to East Lomond Hill, also known as the Falkland Hill. It's the East Lomond Hill car park is where I'm actually going to drive to. It's where the big masts are. Well, you'll see all that when I get there. So I would like to welcome you along to tag along and just sit back and relax and watch the video, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the entire drive starting from Slessor Gardens, and I'll record it all on the dashcam when I get to the car park at East Lomond Hill Mast car park. So you'll get to see the drive. I'll also get the Google Maps and I'll show you roughly the route that I'm taking to get from Dundee to East Lomond Hill Mast car park, also known as Falkland Hill. It's in Fife, by the way, so you know where it is. It's part of the Lomond Hills. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to show you the route on Google, and then after that you'll see the actual dash camera footage. And then when I get to Falkland Hill, I will get the camcorder and I'll start filming the area for you as well, and take some photographs also. Okay, so I'll show you the route on Google first of all. Okay, so starting from the Slessor Gardens, which is in the centre of Dundee at the waterfront, I'll then just drive along the Tay Bridge, which is part of the A92 route. They would just continue driving the A92 all the way to Fruchy, which I'll try and zoom that in. Yeah, so this is the A90. Just basically follow the A92 through Fruchy. Then you get to this circle. When you get this circle, you turn right onto the A912. And what you do then, obviously looking on the screen it's looking left, but when you're driving you're turning right. It just appears left on here, but obviously you're heading this way in the car. You go around the circle, turn right, and you follow this A912, the A912 road. So there's the circle, and then you would just follow up till you get to this turning here. This is an unclassified road, and then you just follow this road until you get to the East Lomond Mast car park. So when I get there, I will get out with the camcorder and I will film the area around there for you. Okay? Okay, this is the voice audio now. So what I'm doing is, because the dash camcorder doesn't, well, I've switched the microphone off. So what I do is I just then add this voice audio over what you're watching now. You see, I'm sitting watching this as well, in the comfort of my armchair, and what I need to do is sync up this voice audio with what's going on with the video, what you're seeing. So it just makes it easier for me to it's not as easy to do like a voice audio at the same, well, a voice recordings whilst and actually out driving. There's a lot of wind, road noise. I mean, the equipment that I'm using, it's just basic equipment. I mean, this is just a mobile phone. The camcorders and the dash cam, the microphone doesn't really pick up a very strong sound, but the camcorder does. But I don't have a way of fixing that onto the dashboard yet to record this. I'm hoping to get some sort of attachments to get these cheaper camcorders that I have. I want to fit them underneath the car, and get the view of the mechanical parts on the road. I've seen YouTube videos like that before. That's the sort of view that I like. I've got a couple of them. I would put one behind the grille on the radiator as well. I mean, it's just things like that. I like playing around with these sort of things. So I'm just in this to say, and just this, and I'm just an amateur at this, and just this is all new to me, and just sort of like just experimenting with all this at the moment. I've only been doing this for a few months. In fact, I only started doing all this stuff at the start of March. At the start of the first lockdown, March, late March this year, 2020, because I had nothing else to do. So everything seems to be moving to go online. But as I speak here at the moment, we're just going across the, well, we're well and truly across the Tay Bridge. I've been on it for quite a bit now, just so that I'm syncing this up. The bus that's in front, it appears that the tail lights are flashing. Well, they aren't actually flashing, that's just the frequencies between the camera and the rear light LED setup that's on the back of the vehicles that have that type of light. It's just the way the LED, it's not like the old bulbs. It used to just be bulbs, that was the old way of doing it. You screw a bulb in and that would be it. It was an element, basically, tungsten or something like that. It was a halogen, filled with halogen gas, something. That was old school. Now it's all this, it pulses, the LEDs pulse at a frequency, and the camera, it's a digital setup, so it kind of like, there's some sort of wave frequency oscillation between the two, so it appears that these lights are actually flashing when in actual fact they aren't. It's just the way the setup is. I don't know if there's probably software out there that would suppress that, but I mean, like I say, this is just basic stuff that I've got here. This is just straightforward. It's no high tech, so it does kind of like make you wonder why all these. I mean, you'll see it when the cars coming the other way later on in the video. They've got the no, it's just sort of, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's high intensity xenon lights. It's all to do with the wavelengths and all that, kind of like. Anyway, but just so that you know, it isn't actually the vehicles that are, the lights are flashing. Yeah, so we're in Fife already now. We'll just come up to the second roundabout on the A92 route. Later on, I actually come across roadworks. I had to take a diversionary route, so I had to end up going through Cooper. So this added on a few extra miles to the journey, but it was nothing too bad, nothing too long. So well, you get to see a wee bit more. You get to see Cooper as well. I was intended on just doing the direct drive from the Slessor Gardens in the Dundee waterfront to Falkland Hill. So Falkland Hill's actually that's the East Lomond. You see, you've got the Lomond Hills. So you've got East Lomond Hill and West Lomond Hill. Well, the East Lomond Hill, to my knowledge, is also known as the Falkland Hill. So it's just another name that they've called it. Now, I haven't done a lot of research or anything into it. I just sort of like came across, visited the summit of the hill just a few years back. I mean, I knew about it. I've driven this road many times over the years. But I was with the Cali, well, still am, a member of the Cali Hike Club, Caledonian Hike Club, Hill Walking Club. And it was with them that was my first time that I actually got onto that hill, you know. and I liked it, so I thought then, well, I noticed I had a car park as well, so I started making my own way there. Quite a nice place, you get a nice view, but today on this video I didn't actually walk right to the summit. It's just because I had other people. I had my dad, my young brother and my uncle with us on this wee day out, and time was kind of like limited. But also you might notice, talking of time being limited, that the clock you're going to see it, well, you're looking at the bottom right corner, the dashcam clock, 25th of the 10th 2020, well, it's saying 1621, 421. It isn't actually 421. This is Sunday, because the clocks went back that night, well, the night before, rather, the Saturday night, or early Sunday morning, whatever way you look on it. It's 2 in the morning on the Sunday. So the clocks went back an hour, but I didn't get a chance to put the clock back on the dashcam. So it's actually 3:22. It's just 20 past 3 basically. Just so that you know, but when I get to the hill, there isn't as much daylight either, daylight hours, because we didn't really get away till fairly late. So I wouldn't have had the time or the daylight to go up to the summit. But the car park is at a fair height. It's no far off the top of the hill, but you'd probably need another good 15 minutes to get to the summit from the car park, depending on your level of fitness, of course. But I will save that for another video. I'll go right to the top for you, and I'll take the camcorder and camera and do the filming and photographing from the summit. I think it's something like 450 metres above sea level, or something like that. So Fife's quite a nice region. A lot of places in Fife that's worth visiting. One of them's the Scotland's secret bunker. It was originally for protecting like military personnel during the event of a nuclear war. I think it was built. I can't remember. It's something to do with the Cold War. It was basically, it's got all the reinforcement concrete. It's a bunker. It's going to protect like VIPs, etc., military personnel, from the event of like fallout from radiation from a nuclear bomb, nuclear attacks. It's got all the ventilators and filters that would capture the radioactive particles. It's got blast doors, and it's deep underground. But it's obviously long been decommissioned, but it's now a tourist attraction, and it's worth going for a visit. It's still, when you go in, you'll see the original equipment. Obviously it's declassified, you know, but it's in there as it kind of like was built for what it was intended for, you know. It's got the old-fashioned equipment, 70s equipment and everything in it. That's brilliant. Like, I mean, I've been there a few times now. So that's the Scotland's secret bunker. It's on the east side of Fife. There's plenty of signs. You could find it. I could maybe do a video on how to get there. You're also allowed to take pictures and stuff when you're inside it. There's a cafe inside also. That would have been the original catering facilities, catering facilities for those that were, you know, in real life back in the day when it was being used for that. That was the original kitchens in that. So, well worth a visit. And I think when you pay once, so when you visit in the year, you obviously get your ticket, and that ticket is valid for a whole year. So you could go back as many times as you want. That's how it was when I last visited it, which was last year, I think, 2019. Something like that, or very late 2018. Or maybe it was just last year, yeah, it would have been probably just. So, yeah, that's one thing that I like. There's loads of places I've visited in Fife, but that's one that's really fascinating. Well, of course, there's the stock car circuits, Kildare stock car raceway circuit, and you've got Loch Gelly raceway, stock car raceway circuit, where they have obviously at the moment with the pandemic, it's a wee bit, well, it's nothing like the way it used to be. They run races, but it's done behind closed doors, so it's not the same. But I'll wait till it kind of gets back to normal, whenever that will be. Hopefully it will happen, where I could get, inside the arena and on the grounds. I mean, I like to be able to watch the action at the ring side, at the circuit side. I like to be close to all the cars going past and all the smashes and everything. Stock car comes in many formulas. My favourites are banger racing and the pro stocks. Pro stocks is just like a sort of class up from banger racing. It's where you would get, well, banger racing is really the bottom of the class. That's the best one in my opinion, because you get an old car, you take them on, they could be up to 50, they could be up to 60 cars. I mean, that's on big events. I mean, your average is maybe about 20-30 cars. It just varies really, but I've seen it up to 80 cars on some of the real big meetings. And this circuit is only a quarter-mile circuit. It's round the football pitch, so 80 cars going round at speed. I mean, these things that aren't souped up or anything like that. It's just your ordinary road cars that are just finished, for like not worth spending money on to keep it on the road. So rather than just break them up or crush them rather, which is just the boring way. They go up with a bang. You could pick them up for really cheap, and you just have to do just a few preparations, minimum of preparations. It's a budget thing. Bangers being the fairly cheap. Although saying that, a lot of work does go into preparing a banger. You've got to have a trailer for a start to get your car there and back again. Then you've got to have the welding equipment to put. It's only really just a roll cage up one side along the roof and down the other. A few plates, relocate some of the fuel tank, the battery. Some of them leave the dashboards in, depends on the venues and that, but obviously the glass is removed. But it's great fun. So when you go in there, they just smash them to pieces. I mean, they go around the circuit for the first heats 1 and 2, and then 3, and then they have the demolition derby. So I just loved it. The Fife, I mean, I've done it before. I've had a few shots many years ago now. I wasn't right into it. I didn't have the money to actually do it permanently all the time, but I did have my shots, and it was enough for me. I had a really bad hit, but well, it was good fun at the time. But yeah, that's places to visit in Fife. Then you've got Knock Hill, which is the actual motorsporting, where you have a circuit, an actual racetrack. Yeah, that's not far from Dunfermline, like Kildare, Loch Gelly. It's kind of all in that area. There's tons of things in Fife to visit. That's just the ones that I regularly visit, or used to before pandemic. Yeah, it's one thing I just want to do more of, is explore some more of these hills that I just whiz past in the car when I'm driving through in Fife. So I want to actually get out and start exploring these hills. But But as I say, the first time I went to that hill, to my knowledge, was with the Cali Hike Club just a few years back. And we walked from East Lomond Hill right to the other end, to West Lomond Hill. But it was part of a walk. It wasn't just that was it. That was just part of the walk that we did. I mean, on average, we could be doing up to anything between 10 and 20 miles. And we're up in mountains. But I think that was because it was winter. It was one of the low-level, nearer local. I mean, you can't really... Although I have been up in the mountains with the hike club during the winter, and then snow and blizzards. It's not much fun walking in deep snow. But yeah, it's a lot of places that... I mean, it's amazing. Like, when you're watching this, you could just see how fast you just wasn't past at speed. You don't really see all the parts that's in offer in Fife, or anywhere for that matter. When you're in a car, you're just going past, you don't really... you miss a lot. I mean, you'll see that. In fact, if you're looking right ahead, you could just see the top. I might be wait a wee bit further. Oh no, there you go, you could see it. If this is in sync, which I hope it is, hopefully this voice audio is in perfect or near perfect sync, you should be able to see the summit right in front on the right. That is East Lomond Hill. That's where we're heading. You'll get a clearer view of it. But because of this diversion, well, we had to end up going in. I had to drive into Cooper to get onto the A914, I think it was. But I just followed the diversionary signs, and eventually I got there. So yeah. There's one thing I do remember about that, well, just yesterday in fact, so, is that when right at the moment there, it wasn't so windy. You don't appreciate how windy it was. It wasn't so bad there, but when you got to that hill, up to that car park, it was windy, really, really windy. And it wasn't the temperature that was that low. It wasn't that cold. It just felt cold because of the chill factor. It was really... It's not windy there, as you could see. It isn't... You wouldn't even think it. It's fairly calm. But what a difference when you get up there. It's just like... It wasn't like gale force wind that blow you off your feet sort of thing, but it was really strong gusts. Very strong breeze. I mean, it kind of like made a bit of a noise over the microphone. It was, even though I've got the windbreak, I do like the colours of these trees and that. That's the autumn colours, all the different colours that when the sunlight hits it, it really gives you the colours, the autumn colours, all the different shades of the oranges, the yellows, and the leaves, and it's really quite nice. It's really spectacular. If you could get a camera, I mean a really sharp camera, you could get all the detail, all the colours, and if it's wet, you'll get the glare, all the sparkle as well. I've seen pictures online, and some of them are really, really crisp, really sharp. But like I say, they must have pretty good cameras, really sharp, expensive, high quality cameras and equipment, recording equipment. And I would like to get, I'd like to get something like that. I'd like to be able to put stuff up that's really sharp, especially at night. I want to get the night sky, the moon, the stars. I mean, you can see it with the naked eye and it's really spectacular, but to capture it on camera, and of course that is only half the battle. After you get it on camera, well, what I do then is I've got to then compile it into the movie using the movie apps. So again, it's been processed again, and then once it goes uploads onto when it gets uploaded online, then of course it's processed yet again. So it's going through at least 3 processes. So the quality, it's going to be having to go through 3 processes before you actually see it online, before you see it from online. But when you record it first time using the equipment, that's one version, you'll see it clear. But by the time it goes through, obviously, I mean, sometimes I've got to put it through the movie app a second time because there's other stuff I've got to add in order to compile up the whole video. Instead of trying to do it all in a winner, I do it in subsections. So it's been processed maybe 3 or 4 times even. Obviously, when you first take the picture, it's been processed by the device that you're photographing or filming from, and then it's gone through the movie app at least once, maybe twice. So there's 2 or 3 times, and then of course it has to be uploaded online, so it's getting processed again 4 times. And of course the quality of the device that you're watching it from also plays a part, so it can go up to 5 times. I mean, it depends. So if you spend a fortune on equipment, it's got to go through, for really good high quality equipment, it's got to go then it has to go through the high quality processes all the way to the viewer. Otherwise, you're not going to get the quality, the end product quality. It's just going to be a waste of time, a waste of money. So it's got to be balanced out right. You've got to get you've got to do the homework on it, find out exactly what's best. And of course, usually the higher quality ones take longer to process, depending on the speed of the processor. I haven't got expensive equipment, so if I set it for a higher quality, that's more time. So, but I do envy the ones that have got really sharp. I mean, I've watched many YouTube videos prior to me making them, and when I watch one that the quality isn't that great, it's a bit, it's not so good. But when you've watched a really sharp one, I mean, like this year, we're driving through this, I think we're just entering into Cooper, and you can see all the leaves and the colours, but the dash cam kind of blacks it out a bit. You don't really, it depends, it's not got a light setting, it just, if it's really bright, it darkens it at the sides, so you're losing the colour. But yeah, this is the little detour. It was that long. This is the detour. We're going into Cooper, I think. We're just entering into Cooper. But yeah, so all the music that you'll be hearing in the background, by the way, that's all copyright free music that I used. I downloaded music apps, and I done all the mixing myself. So it's like I would just love sometimes where I could just put on some of the CDs, and because when I'm driving it, I listen to the music as well, enjoy it. So, and I would like to, it'd be great if I could do that, just put on music, any music. But unfortunately, without going through the copyright permissions, I mean, I would, you could I would end up getting a copyright strike. So I've got to then just make up my own music, or my own sort of, well, if you call it music, something to break the boredom, because like I say, the dash cam doesn't have, it has a microphone, but it doesn't pick up very well, and I wouldn't want it picking up anything in the car cabin whilst I'm driving to be put online anyway, because it's not the way I would like to do it. And besides, you get all the noise at the wind, and it's, I'd rather have and audio. There's tons of stuff. I mean, I've made up videos before where I've sort of talked through the subject phenomena called the Mandela effect. And if you've seen my videos before, you'd probably just be sitting there waiting on when I was going to get to that subject. So I've kind of like looked at how far I am in Cooper, so I may as well get a few words in about the Mandela effect. It's one of the hot and the top it's one of the top subjects for me at the moment. I mean, I'm really fascinated in it. But one thing I'll say every time, and I mean it, is that if you are interested in the Mandela effect, I would suggest that you do your own research into it and make up your own mind and come up to your own conclusions. So I'm not actually saying or trying to convert you into believing in the Mandela effect. All I'm doing is saying what I experience on my videos, so that I'm just putting it out there for you to hear. I'm not trying to. I've nothing to benefit by. All I benefit is the satisfaction of putting out, just sharing that information with you that I believe I know I've experienced the Mandela effect first time. They call it the Mandela effect online. I didn't call it them. I didn't invent the term Mandela effect. It's just referred to popularly online as the Mandela effect. But I won't go into all that because it takes too long as to why it was called that. I've not got enough time, and you're probably saying if you're not interested, thank goodness. But if you are interested, then do your own research first of all, and make up your own mind on it. But there's tons of stuff online, examples of the Mandela effects, some I could relate to, and there's lots of examples that there's lots of experience that I've came across myself. Whether other people have experienced the same things as me, I don't know. But one thing I came across myself is magnetic stones. Now, I came across this. I was helping a friend work on his car, and I had a telescopic magnetic, sort of stick, if you like it. It's a telescope. It's for reaching at long distances. And I touched the ground with it, and I picked up stones with it. Now, for me, it never ever used to be that way. It was always steel. That's what it was, metal, ferrous metal, iron. That's what magnets stick to. Now, yeah, stones have iron in them, some of them, but I've never heard it prior to that the actual stones would be picked up by a magnet. Now, I know that if you experienced that and it's nothing new to you that is the case, then that's fine, because that's how the Mandela effect phenomena works, going by the research online, what they call the Mandela effect. Personally, I don't know what's going on, but I do know what I've experienced, and I do know that I've come across literature and stuff online about the Mandela effect. I was just wondering what that was. That was me wiping the windscreen. Yeah, I saw my arm moving. Yeah, it was the sun that was glaring right in on the windscreen. I remember that now. Unfortunately, when the sun does that, it kind of blacks out the way the dashcam set up, is it darkens the edges, and you get that red dot, that camera glare. But like I say, the equipment I've got is just fairly basic at the moment, so I've just got to make do with what I've got, and also time as well. I mean, this is the short times that I've got off from work, which is a bus driver in Dundee, and this is my rest days, and of course I've got lots of things to do during it, so time's fairly precious. So I haven't really got a lot of time to, I've just got to wing it a lot of times, or basically all of it. I've just had to wing it. In other words, I've just had to make everything up as I went along and just hope for the best that it works, and this is what I'm doing now. I haven't got a pre-scripted script. or anything, and just making it up as I go along, and just hope it makes some sort of sense to you and makes this video kind of like worth watching if you want to see it. What I was on about before, Mandela's effect, of course, there's loads of stuff. Yeah, that was one. I mean, if you don't know what the Mandela effect is and you just don't know what I'm on about, then that's fine. I would suggest though, if you do want to have some sort of idea as to what I'm on about when I'm talking about the Mandela effect, is to just go on Google, type it in, and you'll get the versions that are online that's out there to explain what this phenomena that is called the Mandela effect is. So I've come across those. Now, one of my favourite comedies, if not my favourite comedy, is the Scottish comedy called Still Game. I've got the box set of it. Now, I really like that comedy. And I'll cut a long story short, there's a few Mandela effects in there as well. One of them's where Winston says, during the episode Cairds, and he basically says 3 pence. He's pretending to be Tam, and they're sitting at the table, and the relatives at Cairds table, and he says, Jack's asked Winston to sort of be Tam, and Winston says, right, yeah, I'll bet 3 pence. Now, that's what it was, but then it changed. It changed to 1 pence, and now it went back to 3 pence again. So, and the DVD hasn't been altered in any way. I've had these DVD, and it's not just on my DVD. I've also got a friend that's noticed Mandela effects in Still Game. The other ones, I mean, I came across this one myself, and this one on the way to see it, I pointed out to my mate, and he sort of like, he was amazed by it. It's the one where Bobby, it's the Big Innes character in Still Game, Bobby the barman. He's getting pints ready, and I can't remember, but Eric shows him a photograph. I shouldn't say that actually, I can't remember if I'm talking about Mandela effects, because you'll just think that, oh, false memory, I can't remember. No, you know what I mean. No, I do remember, but I just sort of like rushing it a wee bit here. But no, Bobby basically looks at this photograph and he says, is that him? Now the Still Game fans will know exactly what I'm talking about, but if you don't know what Still Game or anything, if you haven't seen it or what, no, if you don't care what I'm on about, it's basically just a dialogue in it where Bobby says, is that a hand? Sorry, he says, I'm going back on myself, Bobby, it used to be, it certainly was, is that him? Is that him? That's the way he said it. But now it's saying, is that a hand? It doesn't even make sense. But it's a dialogue change, basically, in a nutshell. The dialogue has changed. And yet, the history or all the recorded records of it states or suggests that it's always been that way. Again, that's the Mandela effect. Look, there's loads of stuff. There's changes in the continents as well, world map continents. There's islands I've never heard of, the Svalbard Islands. Now, I used to just think that it was, I've been to the Shetland Islands in Scotland, and I thought that nothing stood between the Shetland Islands and the North Pole. But now there's these Svalbard Islands that stand between them. And it's not like islands just appear in a few years' time. No. This is like Mandela effect style. This has been there apparently all the time. There's lots of paranormal, supernatural, sci-fi stuff, as you could call it. Remember, as I says before in other videos, that paranormal, supernatural, sci-fi is only that to those that are viewing it, that don't understand it. But I'm not going to sort of go too much into that. It just basically means it can only be sci-fi, science fiction, if you don't understand, if you believe it to be science fiction. And it can only be supernatural if you don't believe it to be natural, as in normal. But if you're the one that's making these supernatural things happen, then it wouldn't be supernatural. Supernatural, all this paranormal sci-fi is adjectives. It isn't a noun. It's only refers to those that are actually in the position that they are experiencing it. And by the way, if you're looking straight ahead on the right, that sloping hill is the hill I'm talking about. You might just be able to make the mast out. Well, that mast is where the car park is. It's called East Lomond Hill Mast Car Park. And you can actually see the West Lomond Hill as well. You can see it on the... It would be the 3 o'clock position. So if you're looking at the car in front of me, so if you look at the 3 o'clock position, that's the Lomond Hills. And the one with the sort of sloping side above, that's where we're headed. So, yeah, there's lots of strange stuff going on. I mean, one example is the phones. I'm just about to pick up a phone, right, to text somebody, but then they just got their text right in at that moment. I've heard, now I've experienced it myself, but I'm not going to try and go. I'd have to think back exactly specifically, but the principles I've experienced. But I've heard people talk about it as well, where they've spoke amongst themselves on the subjects that they've talked about. They go into their phone and yet there it is, an advert on that subject. So it's sort of like, you know, it depends on what theory that you believe in. I mean, I like to think things through. Well, I'd put it this way, I don't like to disregard anything really, but you could think, well, they're listening devices, so they could obviously hear what's being said, and then of course they're also transmitters, so they could do all sorts of things, but I'm not gonna go too much into that. But I could just put it in a nutshell. Basically, you know, I done physics, basic, higher, that was it. But I liked physics, that was my favourite subject at school, and it fascinated me. And electromagnetic radiation, microwaves is part of that. That's an interesting, fascinating thing. And phones use these frequencies. They use electromagnetic waves to operate. But so also does the brain, apparently. I'm no brain surgeon, and I'm no brain expert. But they've said it, that there's small electrical pulses in the body and in the brain. So where there's electricity, there's electromagnetic waves as well. So you've got electromagnetic waves in a phone, and you've got electromagnetics all over the place. Light is one of them, radio, there's loads, there's infrared, etc, etc. So the penetrable, like the electromagnetic frequency, the microwave oven uses it's 245 megahertz or something like that, 2.45 gigahertz. And the mobile phone uses a similar frequency. It's obviously microwaves penetrate through the body. So in a nutshell, if the phone uses its means, which is electromagnetic waves, to operate, and the brain uses also very small electromagnetic waves to operate, then you've got a situation where the phone and the brain waves and phone waves could sort of amalgamate. So if you could manipulate a phone using electromagnetic waves, then couldn't a phone manipulate the brain in a similar way using electromagnetic waves? And that's just mainstream physics. So if somebody's thinking something, which has happened to me, I've thought it, I could tell you firsthand, I've experienced it many times, and it's came up on the phone. I mean, I've just about, it works on impulses. You're going away to get up, you're about to move, and then it pings, you sit down, it pings, you think something, that subject comes up, somebody's away, you think a subject to go and relay it to somebody using the phone, and they've already thought of it. I mean, come on. I mean, it's happened more than once. Mega coincidence is one thing, but there's synchronicity as well, which is, but yep, I've experienced that firsthand. Now, how it's working, how it does that, if it's doing that, but on all these occasions, it's like you think, well, could there be something in it? I mean, physics say that, as I said earlier, that electromagnetic waves or radiation, and the same thing of the body uses impulses, electromagnetic waves will come from that. But I think everybody's heard of brain waves, so you've got phone waves, microwaves, transmitter waves. Somehow it was like mind control. Fascinating stuff though. But I didn't invent that, and just, well, I hate saying that word, but I'm just sort of like repeating what I've heard. But I use my own sort of experiences to come up with the conclusions that I come up with. But I do know what I've experienced, and I could tell you that that's happened on many occasions, and it amazes me how I could do that, or how it happens. What actually is happening, I don't know. But it's really fascinating. But yeah, you might think, if you know who I am, and you ken me, I've been interested in paranormal stuff and sci-fi. That's my favourite stuff. I've been it ever since I was as far as I can remember, basically. Yeah, I've always been at that. But that doesn't mean that I'm just looking for anything and thinking it's science fiction or paranormal or supernatural or anything like that. No, I do like to think of rationally, and I go by what I feel. And I could feel there's definitely something going on there, with the Mandela effect and everything, all this stuff I mentioned before. But anyway, I could rav it on about it for hours, because it's a fascinating subject. And so, this is what's going up to this unclassified road that I mentioned earlier on the map. It's one heck of a bumpy road, full of potholes. You'll probably see that and trying to avoid them. But that's the only downfall about this. That's the only snag, rather, about this journey. This road is really narrow. So when you're going up it, you've just got to try and clock where all the passing places are, so that you know where it is when you meet something coming down. I was lucky on this one. I never met anything coming down. So, but it's a narrow road. It's full of potholes. Apart from that, it's a nice drive, and it ends up somewhere quite good. But it was rather windy and breezy, and it was chilly when I got there. But being like late October, well, I suppose it could only be expected. It's funny I say that though, because the weather's pretty bizarre as well. I won't go into it too long. I can't now in this video, but maybe for another video. But it's really, really, really bizarre. It's not. I mean, in 45, and I remember what the weather used to be like in the late 70s, in the 80s, anyway, 90s, up to after the 2000s. But in recent years, the weather's been crazily different. It's like micro weathers and everything. There is such a thing as nah, I'm not going to bother mentioning it. Nah, I'm not going to go into that subject now. But just so that you're not wondering what I was about to say, I hate doing that because I wouldn't like it done to me. I was just going to be able to say it's well known, it's online, it's a device or its device is called an installation called HARP. No, I can't remember it right off the top of my head what it stands for, but it's a scientific thing. What they do, right, is just go to Google, type in HARP, 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 okay? Type HARP in, if you're interested. Type that in, and you'll get what's said about it online. Now, I'm only just saying what I've seen online. I've not worked with HARP or anything like that. I'm not opening up any cans of worms or anything about anything other than the stuff that you could widely come across online, legitimately. So, HARP, if you could control the weather, basically, then enough said. I don't know, but all I'm saying is that I've never remembered the weather being as bizarre as it is in the last few years. And I mean bizarre. I've never remembered it being like that before. In the 80s, 90s, 2000s and stuff, but it's just mega bizarre. There's all sorts of strange stuff. But anyway, I better round this off pretty soon. That's the voice audio, so I hope I haven't bored you. Like I say, I want to put this on because there's nothing else to. Well, not just that. I mean, I do enjoy putting my voice how I feel about certain things. Share it with you. So we're at the top. You're going to be able to see the camcorder footage now. Okay. So, thanks for listening, and you'll see me in a moment. Yeah, cheers. Hello. So that's us now arrived at Falkland Hill at the East Lomond Mast car park. There was a diversion en route. The A92 part of it was closed, so I had to end up going through Cooper. So you've got that extra bit of video footage on the dash cam. So it's rather windy, it's very windy up here. You can see the mast and everything. The car park's just up there. So what I'll do is I'll turn the camera around and then I'll do a bit of filming some of the views that you get from up here. So it's nice, clear. Well, clear. It's very windy, but you get some good views. It's very breezy up here. So. Mast just up there. Turns. It's all looking up to the east. It'll be St Andrews, but turn this camera around and I'll film the actual news video. So that's the camera around. I'll just jump over this little thing again. Right. It's very, very windy, quite chilly as well. So that's looking from Edinburgh. That's Edinburgh there on the distance. Further to the Forth. Probably that's Kirkcaldy, I think. We're leaving, I guess, over there. Or was it yeah, we're leaving. East Lomond, Falkland Hill. Just jump over this again. Leap over it. Right. Some information boards and that. Photograph these things. what I'll do is I'll photograph these information boards as well, where you can actually just then pause the video and get a much clearer view of the words. You'll be able to read it. The camcorder's not really as clear, I don't think, for that. So. This is looking south. You can see there, just like part of the Lomond Hills. This is obviously the East Lomond Hill, also known as Falkland Hill. That'll be the west hills further up. I've picked a kind of sheltered spot where it isn't too windy, just for a moment. It's absolutely, well, it's pretty chilly, freezing. It's not actually freezing, like, it's just the wind chill factor. So I'll light this up. So yeah, it's I've actually brought my dad, my young brother with me, and my uncle. So I'm kind of like, if I had a bit more time and I was hiking boots, I would have walked up. There for you. I might have to do that on another video because I just don't have the time at the moment, because I've got other people with us. So I'll maybe do that for another time. But you get a nice view, but you need hiking boots for that. It doesn't seem like it's that far, but believe you me, it's further than it looks. It's always the case. So I hope you've enjoyed the video so far, and I won't film going back with the dashcam because it's just reversible the way I came. So I can't really think of anything. It's going to get dark fairly shortly. The clocks went forward. Oh no, sorry, the clocks went back yesterday. This is Sunday, so we lose an hour. And we set off late, so kind of like, you know, it's going to get dark. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. I've got lots of other videos that I'm going to plan on doing. Try and get some steady footage, experiment with cameras at the moment. I had a look at a GoPro camera, but I I wasn't successful, so I went back to the shop. But it's just to try and get the steadiness of the image and try my best. I'm an amateur at this. This is new to me. I enjoy doing it, but I want to be able to try and get the views zoom in a bit better and that. And it's just all experimental at the moment. But anyway, thanks for watching and see you next time. Okay, cheers, bye.